Hello boys and girls, and welcome to the 6th tutorial of the FPS gun game. We're going to go ahead and start off by creating a script called static run on game load. Now I'm just going to go ahead and copy the code in. This is a non-mono behavior script that runs after scene load and only when the build is not Unity editor or development build, it sets it to false, or the debug log. So what that will do is on build, but not in the player, it will disable these debugs that we're using that cause a very big performance hit. So that's a really good thing to have. And now we're also going to make another script that's I'm just going to copy paste because it's from a Brackeys tutorial. It's been modified just a slight bit, I think, to show progress text, but it's just a basic level loader to load different scenes. And then we're also going to make a script called pause menu, and you can guess what that's going to be. Alright, now on our canvas we're going to go to our prefabs actually and prefab our canvas. I like to have it prefabbed so I can do stuff like this, create an empty game object inside it and call this pause menu, duplicate it, and we'll rename that and call it, what else do we need? Oh yeah, level loader. And I like to have each script on its own object. It's just easier to identify it that way. Unless it's a system, then I like to put it all on one object maybe. Put the pause menu on there, the level loader on there, and then on our canvas, I hate that it does that. There we go. We need to go ahead and let's set this to scale with screen size, and I forget what it is. I think 1280 by 720. 720. It's like a pretty good one to go with. It's pretty much close to the other one, I believe. As close as you can get. Yeah, didn't really change much of the scaling. And then that's going to let things scale with the screen size. And then we're going to make a new empty and call this loading screen, and then move that up and create a UI element called image as the child, and this will be the LSBG, and then we'll just set that to something huge so it fills the screen, and then set it to black. And then we're also going to make a UI, I guess we can make it child of the image, so UI slider. And actually, let me see, this level loader I may have fixed. Yeah, I actually fixed it to use images because they're better. So if you don't know, you don't want to use sliders for things like health or for things like loading screens and stuff like that, for stuff that has percentages. And the reason is they're sliders. They're meant to be slid. Everyone just, even Brackeys, tears this apart and turns it into a makeshift image slider, but that's not the right way to actually make a loading bar or a casting bar or whatever it is. So what you want to do is create an image and then change the fill properties. And then we need to make a sprite for the image to have a fill. So just open Paint, resize it to something like 500 by 500 pixels, click OK, save it to the desktop as white 500 pixels, and then drag it into your project. Alright, now we're going to slap that onto, oh wait, we need to actually go click on the texture, change it to a sprite. Now we can apply it to our image, and we'll call this loading bar image. And now we can switch this to filled, and we'll have some different options to fill it. So we can do radial, or we can do vertical, horizontal, whatever we want. So we're going to do horizontal to make it a bar and adjust the width, fit the screen. Let's make that like 800 by, I guess, 15. And we're going to make a text UI text mesh pro and set that to black, put it in the middle, and call this percent. I guess we'll just put 100% so we can visualize the percent. I'm going to make it bold. And now I'm going to drag the progress text into here, the image into the progress fill, and then the loading screen itself into the level loader. And then I'm going to go back to my prefabs. I'm going to make a new folder called UI, put the canvas in there, and then as well as prefab the loading screen inside of the canvas. You don't have to do that, I just like it that way. And then disable the loading screen, and now we can make our pause menu. So let's start by going to our scenes and creating a new scene called main menu. Save that last scene, and we're going to do the same thing essentially. Just copy that canvas and then right click prefab and then do unpack completely, and now we can rip it apart and turn it into a main menu. So let's get rid of that crosshair. Let's make a new image for the background, call it BG image, and set that to 1000 each, be black. Alright, now we have a pretty quick setup for our main menu. So let's create a new UI Text Mesh Pro button and make that the child of the image. And let's also set our image to stretched. That way our buttons move with it when we put them in the correct anchor point. There we go. And so let's set this to play game, or call it play game button. Load test level in the text, and we're going to auto size it so it doesn't do that. And then we're going to make the text just a little bit smaller than the button. That way we can reuse it. There we go. And then we're going to take our level loader and on the on click add a new event and drag in the level loader and then do load level. And then we're going to do, let's just rename this to test scene, and on the play game button we will load the test scene. Alright, and I want to bring in that prefab from earlier because we unpacked that completely. So we need to actually reset our loading screen, and let's move the level loader outside of the canvas because it doesn't need to be in the main menu. We'll call this main menu canvas so we know it's different from our game canvas. And then we will re-plug in the things to the loading screen for the level loader. So plug that stuff back in, disable the loading screen, bazinga. Alright, now we should, alright, one last thing actually, we need to go to our build settings and then go to our scenes and add our scenes to the build settings. Make sure the main menu is first and the test scene is second. And now, what is happening? Ah, yes, thankfully Unity spawned it in for me, but I forgot, make sure your scene has an event system so you can actually click your buttons and you don't get that bug. If you ever have that bug, that's probably what you're missing, is your event system. So, just so you know, if your event system is missing, you can't click on stuff. Alright, moving on. Now that we have our button to load our test, let's just go ahead and add a title to this. So let's go ahead and on that BG image create a text, and let's make it bold and auto size it, center it, move it up, call this main menu, and I'm going to scale it, there we go, and set it to 0, and I guess like 350. Alright, no, we need it lower. Let's center it to the top actually, and then just position the Y. There we go. And we'll call this title. Title text TMP. There we go. And now we're going to create our pause menu. So go back to your test scene, open the canvas, and let's create a actual pause menu. So we'll create a new empty object, move it right above the loading screen, and we'll call this pause menu object, or just object, obj. Open up our pause menu, make a serialized field, private game object, pause menu object. We're gonna make a private bool game is paused equals false, and in the update we're gonna do if input get key down key code escape. We will, if game is pause, we will create a function called private void resume, and then another one called pause. And in our pause we will do game is paused equals true, and pause menu object dot set active equals true. We're going to copy that, set it to false on start, true on resume, or actually false on resume, and then make sure it's basically going to do everything opposite in the resume. and then we're going to set the time to 0 and then 1 on resume, and then when it's paused we will set the cursor state to none, but we will set it to, oops, don't need that, we will set it to locked. And then we will make the cursor visible on pause but not visible on resume. Okay, and then up here, else, and we're going to, if game is paused, we will resume. If it's not paused, we will pause. Now it's kind of confusing. And then put our pause object here. And let's just create a UI image. And for now, let's just test and see if it's working. So it doesn't show up, shows up, goes away. Cool. But my mouse isn't going back to normal. And now this project's getting a little bit big, so I'm having trouble finding stuff. So I'm going to put my tool in here called Script Content Search that I made. And this is a lovely tool that we will just copy paste the code into. And it's a editor tool. And we'll just set it to search all the assets by default. Okay, and if we go into our custom tools, we have this Script Content Search. And now I can begin searching for anything in the project. So the beauty of this script is, say I want to find where I did cursor visible, or we also know it's in the FPS controller. So we'll type in the FPS controller. Apparently I can't spell. Oh, it had an underscore. There we go. And we'll figure out what's going on with the cursor here. So it is setting it to false and locked. Makes me wonder why it's not doing it on resume here. It's not like the end of the world. It's kind of annoying. And I don't know why I'm able to shoot while paused. So let's fix that too. So when you pause the game, you don't actually pause it, you kind of just stop time, right? So we need to do stuff with this game is paused bool. So let's set this to a public static bool. And we're going to set it to false on start. And then in our gun script, we're just going to do in the update if pause menu dot game is paused equals false, and then we're going to take everything in the update and we're just going to not allow the gun to update while it's paused, and that should get rid of the shooting bug. Okay, so I can't shoot while paused anymore. That's good. I can still turn, so let's fix that. So in our FPS controller we will find the turning logic. Here it is. So if can move and pause menu dot game is paused equals false. Alright, cool. Still kind of annoyed that my cursor is not being reset, but maybe it's just the editor, so let's try this. Do a quick test build. And I'm getting a build error here because I forgot to put my script content search script into the editor folder. So always make sure you have editor files in your editor folder. And now we should be able to do a test build. Okay, as we can see in the full build, the cursor actually goes back to normal. So it's not anything wrong with the code or with the project itself, it's just Unity being weird in the editor. Alright, so Alt F4 out of there, and I'm just going to delete that test. And then, because I obviously forgot to, let's go back to the main menu. We're going to copy that button we made earlier. So remember, we want to reuse that text we set up. Drag it to the bottom, center it to the bottom, middle bottom, and we'll call this quit game button. And we will go to level loader and do quit. And then on the text, we will just say quit game. And then that will let us quit when we're building. All right, so now go into your canvas and let's change this to the BG image of the pause menu. Set these to 10,000 and then set it to black. And I'm actually going to go to the main menu, copy the button, go back to the test scene, open our canvas, and paste that button in, and then set it to the child of the BG image. There we go. And now we have that beautiful button we made. And we can do one for resume button, and then we can do a return to menu button. And on the resume, we just write resume game, and on the to menu, we just write return to menu. Let's call it main menu. Yeah, it's too much text. Just return to menu. Okay, and then on both of them, let's drag in that level loader. On the resume game, we're going to do level loader. Actually, we're going to do pause menu on both of them. Or actually, level loader on the return to menu, and then pause menu on the resume button. Yeah. Okay, and then we need to make the resume button public in the script so that we can access it. So there it is, resume. And then return, we will do the level loader, load level, sorry, I blanked out there for a second, and then copy the main menu name and paste that into the level loader.load level for main menu. Alright, and now let's go ahead and disable the pause menu. Let us see to it that it is working, and it is, voila. Alright, so now we have a pause menu, but now we need a death menu or game over menu, whatever you want to call it. So in your menu, in your canvas, we are going to go ahead and make a new script, or just new object. We'll call it UI underscore manager, and then make a new script called UI manager to go on it. Script, there we go. Oop, do I already have a UI manager? Oh, I guess we do. Yeah, we do. I'll delete that script. Where did we put the UI manager? Ah, uh-oh. So we have an old canvas here that I hadn't deleted. So I'm going to copy that UI manager script, delete that old canvas, go back to our new canvas, and let's paste that component to our new menu. I don't know how that happened. I guess so many tutorials, I just accidentally made two canvases. So let's go to the bottom left and set that to there, and we're going to call this our ammo text, and I guess we'll auto size it. Sure, that's fine, whatever. And then take our ammo text there, set it in. Alright, so now we will make a new variable, and this will be, I guess, we'll just call it the game object death menu object. So I don't know if it's just your death menu or your game menu or your game over menu for whatever you're doing with this project. But we are going to take the death menu object and then do .set active false on the beginning. Okay, and then we need a bool to check if we are dead. So let's go ahead, and since this is the only script, we can just go make a public bool is player dead false. Set that to false on the beginning. And then we're going to go to our player health script. So let's get out of here, find our player, go to the health, and then when we die, let's do pause menu dot is player dead equals true. Yeah. Equals true. Why can we not get to it? Oh, it's not on the pause menu, it's on the UI manager, that's right. Public, oh, we need to make it static. Public static bool. Messing up all over here. Alright, and now that will trigger the is player dead. So, if is player dead, death menu object dot set active true. And I didn't do brackets. There we go. And then we need to also pause the game. So private game object pause menu. Let's go ahead and go back to the pause menu and set the pause to public so we can access it and save it. And then pause menu equals find object of type pause menu. What's going on here? Oh, yeah, we need that not to be game object, it needs to be pause menu. And then pause menu dot pause. So the game pauses when we die and the death menu opens. Okay, so let's go back into our canvas now and finish our death menu. Let's just copy paste our pause menu, and we're going to call this death menu. And on death, we only want return to menu, but we can also do a new one that we should also have on pause, so let's just go ahead and do it on pause too. Oh, we'll do it separately. So let's go ahead and, can't do two things at once, right? And this one is going to be restart level, and then it's going to be level loader dot reload scene. There we go, and rename this to reload or restart scene, restart level, something that makes sense to the player. And set that to like 000, copy, paste it, and bring it into the background image of the pause menu. So we also have that option to restart level. When we pause, resume game, Kind of just space these out a little bit better. Actually, we'll make an empty object and add a vertical layer group and set this to middle center and do something like 10 spacing, and then put all the buttons on it. Do like 20 spacing. There we go. We'll call this vertical layout, and I'm actually going to copy paste that vertical layout group, bring it down into our death menu, and remove all the buttons and put those buttons on it so it has a vertical layout group as well. Alright, now make sure you plug the death menu into the UI manager, and when we die we should load the death menu. Alright, we did, but there's a problem. First of all, we have a bug here because it's looking for the player, and we also don't have a camera anymore, so we need to spawn in a new camera when we die. Most people like to parent the camera to the player, but I find it very hard and annoying to make a good FPS controller when you're doing all that nonsense. So it's just more streamlined and easier this way, and it really doesn't hurt performance when you're spawning something in just once like a camera. So let's go ahead and in the player death we are going to slap in this function called make new camera from the game I'm making, and we will call it, we'll put a private bool we'll just call it do once. And just to make sure this happens only once, if do once equals false, do once equals true inside the curly brackets, and then put the stuff up here. And we're going to make a new camera. We're going to set this to true, and the bool there in the args just tells us do we want to add a audio listener or not. And then in the enemy move we need to take the face toward player object dot player object, and if that is not null, then we can allow this stuff to happen, so we hopefully don't get this bug again. Now let's test it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, cool. I'm trying to think of what else to do today because I don't want to jump into effects or anything extra crazy, so let's go ahead and add a player health bar. So let's just go to canvas and create a new UI image, and we're going to do like we did last time and take that texture, bring it in, set it to filled, set it to horizontal so that fills horizontally, and now let's move it down, move it up here with the other UI stuff, and just so we have this separated, let's go ahead and create something called, I don't know, the UI. So we'll put all the UI on the UI object. Let's create another empty object called scripts and put all the scripts on the script object so these don't look like they're all cluttered. And then let's call this the health player health fill image, and we'll set this to like 50 height and 200. Move it down, and we'll make the player health green, why not? Create a text mesh pro in it, and let's just go ahead and center it, and let's auto size it, and let's call this let's just set it to like 100%, or actually let's do full values, so like 100 out of 100. And then we are going to go to our UI manager and make a private game object, and actually we want it to be public game object, and call this, get the player health object. We can actually just make this the image. So we'll go down to the image that is using Unity engine.ui, and we'll just call this player health image. Then make sure to go ahead and add your player health image to your UI manager. And then on your player, open your player health, and we are going to make a private float max health. Do we really not have a max health? No, we only have it for the enemy health. So set the max health equal to health. And the reason we need max health is so we can detect damage being done like we did with the enemy in the last tutorial. So let's, in the update, or actually, let me think. We definitely need to go ahead though and get the private UI manager, and we'll just call that UI underscore manager. UI manager equals find object of type UI manager. So here in our projectile we need to add some sort of detection for the player actually being hit so we can update the health bar. So I think the easiest way to do that would, let's just do a bool. It's not that hard. Public bool player is hit equals false, and just to make sure it's always false, And we don't need to see it, so we will hide it in the inspector. And whenever you're using hiding inspector, you want to set things, because public things can change. Just remember that. You can change them by accident with code. So we are going to take the see, wait. Yes, this is the enemy's bullet attacking the player. Player is hit equals true. And then if our player is hit, we'll go ahead and then set the player is hit to false, because we only want this to update every time the player is hit, and only once every time the player is hit. So now we can take the UI manager dot let's see, player health image, and we're going to equal this and to the health, and let's rename health to current health. I'll rename all those variables. It's always good to rename your variables to keep your sanity. So it's going to be equal to, oh, we need to set that to fill amount. There we go. It's equal to current health. What's going on here? Oh, this needs to be current health too. Oh darn it, I spelled current with 2 U's. Okay, there we go. And now that should update the player health image. Now let's go ahead and copy paste that on start too. After the max health is set max, and set this to, oh, and we actually need to make this a percentage, so we will just, it's either current health divided by max health or max health divided by current health. I can never remember, but one or the other. I'm gonna go ahead and make that its own variable too. Float percent, so it will equal a percent, and hopefully the right percent. Okay, so now it's just going to update the health slider, hopefully, but I may have done the percentage wrong. Let's see. Let's turn this around. Current health divided by max health. It's, oh, right. Can't just do it in one spot. I think it's already right, but we're gonna find out the hard way. We need to make sure we do that when the player is hit too. All right. Nope. Let me flip those around maybe. Yep, there we go. Just need to flip them around. All right, and now we need the text as well. So let's go into our UI manager and make a public text mesh pro GUI UGUI and call this player health text. Let's go into our canvas and plug in that player health text to our UI manager. And then let's go ahead and save that. Go to our player health and do UI manager dot player health text equals current health to string, and we'll do, and 0 I think cuts it off with no, that will like round it, and we'll do that too in the player is hit part. Okay, and then that's right, we also want to do plus dash and then max health. What's going on here? Max health dot to string and 0. Oh, needed a plus in front of it. There we go. And then add that to the start as well. Marvelous. And now let's also go ahead and add a background to the player health image. So let's go ahead and make a new empty object. Let's reset the player health image field to center. Put it on the empty game object. Well, first let's move the empty game object down to it, position it. Then let's put it on the empty game object. Set the empty game object to bottom. We'll call this player health root. And then we will make a new image on the root. In fact, we'll just duplicate the player health image fill, delete the text, put it above that so it's underneath, and this will be the BG fill. And we're just gonna make it dark green. Okay, beautiful. And now we have a health bar when we get hit, and when we die we have a return to menu and well, death screen. So let's get rid of, let's make sure this health bar isn't showing up in the wrong place. Let's also name our pause menu by making a new text on it. So our player health root needs to be up here with the other player UI stuff, and we will put a text here. What happened to be on the BG image? Set it to the top, auto size, all that good stuff. So it would be pause menu. We'll call this title text. Duplicate it, put it on the death menu, put it on the BG layer. We'll call this death menu. So we have some titles. All right, cool. Now if we shoot, get hit, we die, we have our death menu. We can restart the level. But there is a problem here when we restart the level after we die, so we need to fix that. The game is not unpausing itself. So in our death menu, when we choose to restart level, we need to take in our pause menu and do resume. And I'm going to type -disable on these, just so you know to disable them. I like to note the things that I want to disable always, just so I have a clean canvas. Alright, and now, what's happening? Huh, strange. Okay, so here's our problem. When our player dies, we just need to go ahead and set it to false because it's updating the pause menu, and then we can't resume the game. So still have the setting where it resumes and then reloads the scene. So now we can restart the level. Hell yeah. Okay, so one small bug I'm noticing is sometimes when you pause the game, it gets paused when you hit escape, and that's bad because then you can't pause again. And the reason is, I think, this static bool. So we're gonna add a game is paused local, since we have one as static, and then we're just gonna set it as it should be with the other game is paused variable, and then we're gonna use that to detect whether the game is paused or not. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that fixed it. And there's one little bug. When the player when the enemy stops, it doesn't turn toward the player. So let's make sure the enemy is always rotating toward the player. So I just pasted this function in called rotate towards player function from my game I'm making, and we're gonna get the face towards player object dot transform dot position. And then in the attack, we want to, if it stops, rotate toward player, because otherwise it will rotate automatically when it moves. Cool. So now it rotates properly, and when I die, there's a death menu. We can restart the level. We have a pause menu. We need to make sure when we restart the level from the pause menu as well, we resume. So there's actually an easier way around this. Let's just go to our restart level here. We're gonna remove the pause menu, and we're actually gonna go into our level loader, and we're going to get a private pause menu, and on start we're gonna pause menu, find object type, pause menu, and then when we reload a scene, first things we're gonna do is pause menu resume, and that way when we reload the scene, we will just automatically resume without having to add a second function each time. Alright, now we can restart level, and let's see, just making sure all the things are working so you guys have a nice fully working game. So there's another problem here. When we go to the main menu with the game paused, we need a script in the main menu to reset everything from the pause menu and other things. So it's always nice to have a script in the pause menu called something like main menu reset. And we'll make an empty object here called scripts and main menu reset. Main menu reset. And this is just going to be a bunch of stuff that is built into Unity on start. So let's go ahead and set the audio listener dot pause equals false, because we want the audio listener to play. The time dot timescale to 1, and the cursor lock state to none, and cursor visible is true. Alright, and now I'm going to build this out to test it. Alright, and now when I return to the menu and reload the level, we're not suffering any problems. We can restart the level, we can resume the game, and then, oops, I want him to kill me. Testing all of the buttons just to make sure. Yep, everything is working just fine. Alright, that's it for this tutorial, guys. Next tutorial we will be doing stuff like making graphic settings, resolutions, and we will be doing effects and possibly explosions as well, but that might be a whole separate tutorial. See you guys next time.
Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any more future videos.